Chris Anderson. He is on your right. Max Williams is on your left. Both these players 11-1. Whoever wins this match is a lock for top 8. We'll see who it's going to be. It's been a heck of a run here for Chris so far. Number 12 on our Season 4 leaderboard. He's going to start by sacrificing a Verdant Catacomb. So down to 19 he goes.
On the play, I think a weapon that could come into play here for Anderson is Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
Because Punishing Fire plus Grove, usually a little too slow on the draw. But on the play, especially if you can enable it on the first turn, that can be very disruptive and be a path to win a slower game.
A Taiga here for Chris. You do wonder if Chris knows what he's up against. Max Williams has been at the top tables for about as long as Chris has.
Usually by this stage of the game, you've been sitting next to each other for a couple rounds now. Probably know what's up.
And there's a chance that Chris is very happy with his pairing. He's going to start by cycling a Tranquil Thicket. Not the explosive start that I was looking for.
Could be on the hunt for a Mox or to find the right land to pair with a Mox.
Well, he does have a Mox in his hand. The question now is just which land does he want to discard to the Mox? Looks like he's going to go with Verdant Catacombs. And now he'll just pass the turn back over to Williams. Williams' first turn of the game. We'll see what he can find. He'll sacrifice a Windswept Heath, go down to 19. Forest is the weapon of choice. We might have a Zenith here, and we do. That'll find Dryad Arbor. Not a lot of decks do this in the format, so Chris can put him on a certain range of decks now at this point.
Yep. Some sort of Maverick style strategy or Elves. Probably Elves if they open up on the basic.
Back to Anderson, we're going to go. Grove of the Burn Willows the draw. Here is a Wasteland. We might see him fire that off. We'll just pass the turn back.
I think Chris's hand has a path towards Merit Lage here. I believe he has crop rotation plus another piece of the puzzle. And remember, Elves can't really gain life outside of Deathrite Shaman, nor can they kill Merit Lage, nor can they block flyers. So this is one of the matchups where Merit Lage is at its best.
He might also have some interest in maybe jamming Max up with a Tabernacle.
Yes.
Well, Chris says, all right, in response to Queer and Dryad, I'm going to fire off my Wasteland. So that Queer and Dryad can't do any shenanigans.
Yeah, and Chris doesn't, I think the way Chris was handling that turn was if Williams makes a move that involves using the Dryad Arbor to good effect, he'll shut it down. He maybe would prefer to save the Wasteland to either kill a Cradle or to just sacrifice a crop rotation if nothing really presents itself. But a Queer and Ranger, there is enough of an incentive there for Chris to use the Wasteland.
Basic Forest here for Max Williams. There's Birchlore Rangers. Here's Heritage Druid. What comes next? 3 green floating.
I mean, the last card in hand is Natural Order. This is a path towards a turn 3 kill here for Williams, I believe.
Looks like he's going to start with Elvish Visionary. Down to 1. Draw a card. Cradle. Ugh. He's already played his land for the turn, unfortunately, but that's a heck of a draw, too.
Yeah, that gives basically a 1-turn window here for Tabernacle to be productive. After that, Williams will be able to pay for everything very easily.
There's Wire with Symbiote. No mana floating. Queer and Ranger is going to go active. So return a Forest, untap Heritage Druid. And now it's going to be return Queer and Ranger, untap Birchlore Rangers. Here's 3.
I'm not sure where this gets Williams exactly.
Yeah, I think he wanted to get back Elvish Visionary.
Yeah. So I think he's just dead in now with 2 in the pool.
Yeah.
Probably not a huge deal because he's got the kill next turn. And if Williams has if Anderson has a response, it probably doesn't matter what random card Williams has drawn. But yes, I think the Visionary was the one to get back there.
Chris will draw. Mazevith. He's going to play Maze, I think. And now crop rotate the Maze away. And this is where he gets he either gets Tabernacle or Glacial Class from here.
Yeah, and because he doesn't have Loam or Exploration or anything like this, I think it would probably be Tabernacle.
All right. So now all these creatures have upkeep, pay 1 to keep. The nice thing here for Max is that he's got Heritage Druid out there and Birchal Ranger and Quirion Ranger and Whitewood Symbiote, so he can actually pay for this stuff in a weird way pretty easily.
Yeah, all of his creatures are essentially worth 1 mana on the table regardless, so it's not hard for him to pay for it, but at least from Anderson's perspective, forces Williams to tap most of his stuff, reducing the odds that he gets killed by Craterhoof Behemoth next turn. This won't work the turn after because Williams can put the Cradle on the table and then all bets are off.
Now we're going to see how Max Williams wants to manage this. Tabernacles, all those triggers go on the stack. 3 green. There's 4. And then he's going to return and untap. And now he's paid for it fairly easily. I think he can just kill him this turn. Right? Because he plays Cradle, casts Natural Order, sacrifices the Birchal Ranger.
Yes, if he has Natural Order, then yeah. This is there'll be 4 creatures left over, 16, 20. Yeah, it's lethal by a lot.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure Natural Order in the grip. Yeah, Max is just kind of checking to make sure he doesn't make a mistake here, but I think this is pretty simple territory. Yeah, Chris already going to pick it up. So Max Williams is going to win. Well, I think he might say, show me Craterhoof Behemoth. There we go. There we go.
Could be in the hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you might as well make him play it out.
But it'll show him Craterhoof Behemoth. That's going to get the job done. Max Williams is going to win game number 1 here against Chris Anderson on turn 3.
Yep.
Elves up a game over lands.
That's the type of draw that Elves needs.
Yep.
You know, with a couple more turns there, Chris is probably going to be able to set up a lock that Williams can't get out of. But Anderson's draw was not very smooth, didn't have any way to accelerate his mana, no loam, and Williams was able to power through the Tabernacle with Cradle for Natural Order.
To the sideboard we're going to go, and we are going to start with Chris Anderson, who will be on the play here with his Molten Vortex, his 4 Crows and Grips, his 4 Sphere of Resistance, a Bajuka Baga Caracas, 2 Chalice of the Void, a Boil, and a Boseiju who shelters all. I like some of the options here.
Well, the 2 copies of Chalice of the Void are great here. Chalice is set to 1 is all sorts of problem for Williams' deck, and I think the 1 copy of Molten Vortex is fine here as well.
And the other side of things here for Max Williams, he's got 3 Thoughtseize, 3 Cabal Therapy, 3 Abrupt Decay, a Scavenging Ooze of Progenitus, a Rook Thar the Unbowed, a Choke, a Pith Needle, and a Sylvan Library.
I think that you want probably some amount of the Abrupt Decay action to protect yourself against Chalice of the Void, and you can also get, you know, certain cards like Exploration off of the table. I think that Progenitus might be a fine target for Natural Order in this matchup. It's not the easiest thing for Anderson to answer other than via Glacial Chasm. And the 1 copy of Pithy Needle here, good as well.
There's the options there for both players. We take a look now at SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion thanks to you guys. November just about over, so we turn our attention toward December and the old reindeer.
You can head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information. We send out these kits to the stores who can run Game Night any way they choose, any format they want. Just get players in the store for some fun and friendly magic. This is the December kit. It is too late to get signed up for this, but if you want to get signed up for January, which we have available here, the Grizzly brand, head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information, or contact your Star City Games in-store play representative. Canadian store owners and players, we have changed the shipping rates on these kits, and now it's just U.S. domestic shipping to send these out to you, so you haven't brought Game Night to your store because of the prohibitive shipping rates. Those have been changed. Again, head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information, or contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
Typically, our tokens for Game Night are supposed to be friendly and kind of fun, little whimsical. There's nothing friendly about Grizzly Brand.
No.
just very upset. Like Penguin Click, hey, that's kind of unique. Playing cards. Grizzly Brand is just mad.
Just mad, which I like. I think our tokens are very much in the cute space, overwhelmingly. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but good to mix it up.
Need someone out there to give the beatdowns.
Yeah.
That's what Grizzly Brand's there for.
Not every animal is nice.
That's very true.
So it's disingenuous of us to present all the tokens as being nice.
Chris Anderson right now, he is 11-1 in this tournament. He is 26 years old from Indianapolis, Indiana. Invitational top 8 earlier this year at Season 1 when we were in Richmond. And 16 Open Series top 8s with 1 victory. Number 2 would be Timely right now.
Be a big one.
And he is in a good position to do that. Again, 11-1, currently down a game, though I do think it's a positive matchup for him.
It's, you know, the games that either deck wins, it looks like the other deck doesn't have much of a shot.
Yes.
It's one of those kind of matchups. I think in terms of percentages, it's good for lands, not overwhelming. But the games where lands wins, it looks like Elves doesn't have a shot. And that's because they don't have a shot in the games where lands has its best draws. But you don't have your best draw every game.
You know, that draw from Chris was fine.
Yeah.
But not his best draw. I mean, Max overcame Tabernacle easily that game.
Yeah, I mean, Chris's draw there had a pretty good path to Merit Lage, I think around turn 4. He had to pivot and go get Tabernacle instead to keep himself above water for a little while. And the Cradle and all the stuff in play was too much for Chris to overcome. Wasn't a bad draw, but it wasn't his best draw in the matchup by any means.
Williams going to take a mulligan here. Anderson going to keep his opener. And again, he'll be on the play. And he does have some nice tools. Chalice of the Void, for example. A nice one to have. He's got a Punishing Fire engine in the deck as well, which is good against Elves. But I agree with you. Good on the play. A little bit worse on the draw.
On the draw without an Exploration or a Mox, Punishing Fire just isn't going to be disruptive enough. It's very good in a deck like Jund because you're backing it up with a bunch of other removal spells.
Yep.
But if it's your only removal spell, Elves can outpace that pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say. You know, a lot of the times when we see lands, it's this deck that wants to cast Life from the Loam a bunch. I'm not sure it wants to do that in this matchup.
No, I think you're a combo deck in this matchup. Set up Loam, Exploration, Glacial Chasm. That's one route. Or Merit Lage. That's the other route.
Williams going to take another mulligan here.
But the loaming for value, it's not going to be that sort of game.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I'm thinking right now, if I'm in Chris's spot, how many loams would I want after sideboard against this deck? Because you're a loam deck. That's what this deck is really based off of. Can you possibly board one out or some number of them out?
Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable. All of his utility lands are good in the matchup. I mean, the only thing I would consider cutting is Maze of Ith.
Okay.
And Maze of Ith's not even a blank here. It's just not all that good.
Yep.
Because if Williams is able to do something that warrants using Maze of Ith, he's probably attacking for 35 across 7 creatures or something like that. Maze is not good in those spots. But yeah, I think you can rationalize shaving.
It's a weird thing to say. I think the Maze is getting worse and worse as this deck evolves.
Well, in some of your matchups, it's your most important card.
Yeah.
It's really important in the mirror, too.
Yeah, against the 2020.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Any sort of equipment-based strategy, they really struggle with Maze of Ith. Against Delver decks, it's one of your better cards. I mean, Chris is only playing 3. He doesn't have a full play set, so there's been some amount of shaving there, but I don't think you can get away from Maze in this deck.
Max going to keep 5. Scribe top to the bottom. We're underway here. Chris with a Grove of the Burn Willow is going to give Max a life, it appears. Now there's Exploration. The follow-up appears to be a Tranquil Thicket past the turn back.
And I think that Chris has Punishing Fire and another land in hand. Really good setup here. Some form of acceleration, Punishing Fire plus Grove. That is a path for Chris to not necessarily lock Max out of the game, but really slow down his development.
Windswept Teeth, the weapon of choice here for Max. He'll sacrifice that. Go down to 19. We'll see what land he wants to search up. We'll go with Basic Forest again. I like aggressively searching up basics against this deck.
Yep.
I think that's smart. There's Quern Ranger. And Gamble the draw here for Anderson. He's got the Tabernacle already in hand.
Well, Tabernacle's not great if he's planning on just killing every creature that Williams puts into play. This might be the land that gets crop rotated away at some point.
I like the make you pay and then kill your creature.
Yes.
I'm on board with that. It also just puts Max in the squeeze too, right? Like any creature you play, you have to pay for Tabernacle, and then I can choose to kill it or not.
Yep.
There's a Bayou. Chris going to return Punishing Fire. And now he's untapping. Taking a draw. Thespian Stage.
I mean, now he can just crop rotate for Dark Depths and kill him.
This is pretty easy. Hey, you said it. Whoever wins, it's lopsided.
Right.
On one side there. The last game was a joke.
And this one is going to also be a joke. I mean, it's not a one-shot kill, I guess. Max is at 22, but
Not Punishing Fire you.
he doesn't have red mana.
Yeah, that's like the only thing he's missing. Yep. Time to crop rotate. Just depends on which lane he wants to crop rotate away, and Tranquil Thicket's as good as any. If you're Chris, you don't have to worry about some sort of crazy card like Shadow of Doubt or any of that. You're clear for takeoff here. Make it 2020.
Easy mode.
Right now, yes. This is about as easy as it gets for this deck. There is the 2020. Now we're going to head back Chris's way. Don't have to pay for Tabernacle. It's a fun interaction. Yeah, it's a fun interaction we learned when we watched Ken and Haas play on the Open Series last year, which is it gives it to the creature, does Tabernacle, and it says destroy if you don't pay one.
Right.
That's hard to kill an indestructible creature with a destroy effect.
It's odd because almost every other card that is a payment involves sacrificing.
Yeah.
But when you go, basically any set before Ice Age, the functionality of certain cards is going to be different than what you would expect.
Chris Anderson's going to tie it up here against Max Williams. Lands, Elves, getting ready here for game number 3. I got a feeling we keep a pace like this, have time for that old backup match.
It's been a crisp pace thus far. And now Anderson's going to be the one on the draw.
Yep.
Needing to assemble a lock or a kill extremely
I
fast.
think Mox Simon might be important in this game.
Yes, exploration as well.
Fall Creature Collection is where we're going. We'll talk about that very quickly before game number 3 does start here with StarCityGames.com Creature Collection. We got playmat, sleeves, and bundles of some of your game night favorites.
Yeah, all the favorites here from fall. We got the Hippo, the Otter, the Reindeer, and Penguillian Click. All available playmats, sleeves, and player bundles over at StarCityGames.com/Creature Collection, or you can head over to our dealer booth, any of our opens, or any Grand Prix that we're at.
Good old Penguillian Click, a popular one among the people at home. And keep your eyes peeled here. 2015 is almost over. That means the winter collection for 2016 on the way soon.
Yes.
Perhaps a Grizzly brand, I can't even say it, Grizzly brand playmat on the way.
I mean, that's a lock. We're gonna make that at some point.
Don't know what the follow-ups are.
The play mat market to me is fascinating.
Okay.
It's a fascinating thing.
Okay, do tell.
Star City makes a lot of them. A lot of them are given out as, you know, Grand Prix, prize kits, Ultra Pro makes a bunch of them on the side, whatever. The hypothetical maximum number of playmats a human being needs is 1. And in reality, it is probably 0. And yet there seems to be no end to the number of playmats that can be profitably created.
Look, man, sometimes you just want a cool playmat.
The market is at peak playmat. This is
I have my own playmats made.
a lot of modern economic theory.
Throw it out the window.
Throw it out the window
Yeah.
when it comes to the playmat market.
It's one unlike any other.
Yes.
Could you imagine if you were just a trader for playmats?
That's a blossoming market.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm a playmat trader. That's what I do for a living. Cool.
Someone came to my store and bought 2 of them. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? They bought 2 of them. For what?
We're going to have to get you a playmat. You seem very anti. Would you use a playmat?
I never. That's no one's fault. It's just it's a
those
cultural.
It's those old school roots.
It's a cultural age gap. I mean, back in my day, early 2000s, the PTQ, if someone brought dice, they had dice at the PTQ, you were like, I hope I get paired against that person.
Yep.
Like, there's no way that person could be any good. They have dice on them. So the playmat was even more extreme than the dice. Now, culture's very different, and the way the game's designed to develop, you need dice and tokens for a million different things. So
dice are really bad.
Yeah. So it's different now, but no, I would never use a playmat.
I still don't carry dice myself because the little dice like cubicle thing, it always explodes in my backpack.
Yep.
So that just drives me nuts, but dice very necessary now.
It's like if you're a hockey player in the 80s. No, I'm not going to wear a helmet.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
There's nothing wrong with wearing a helmet. In fact, it's probably advisable. But no, I just came from a generation where that was a sign of you aren't a serious competitive player.
Was there a time when football players didn't wear helmets? There's no way that was it, right?
The helmets weren't good back in the day, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you had to play football for about 5 minutes, even during the 1800s, to realize, yeah, we need to be doing something to protect our heads or someone's going to get killed.
All right. Just want to make sure. Both players are keeping their opening hands. Max Williams is going to start off with a Misty Rainforest into a Basic Forest, like we've seen so many times thus far.
I assume even at the Princeton-Rutgers game, the first college football game, we're close to both campuses, by the way, there were helmets involved.
I've driven through the Rutgers campus last time I was here. A delight. Here's a Deathrite Shaman.
Princeton campus is not shabby either.
Tabernacle was the first draw here for Chris. Now he's got a Mox, and we thought that this would be an important one on the draw. So he's going to discard Thespian Stage. What's he going to do after that? Exploration. Keep in mind, hasn't played a land yet, so he gets to play 2 of them. One of them might be Tabernacle.
I don't know if this hand actually goes anywhere. It's got an exploration and is a little bit disruptive. But I don't know if there's a path towards looping Glacial Chasm or Temerity Lays just yet.
Well, Deathrite Shaman's going to take 1 mana to keep around, along with the rest of the elves moving forward. The other land is the Thespian Stage. Max predictably going to pay for Deathrite Shaman.
Bear in mind, as the name would suggest, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale is legendary, so that cannot be copied by Thespian Stage. That's what disappointed me about the Magus cycle. I really wanted it to be not Magus at the Tabernacle, but Magus at the Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale.
Yeah.
Magus, not Magus of the Tabernacle, then. Magus of the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. I don't know if that fits on their type line.
I was going to say the first Magic card with 2 lines of text.
Yeah.
Here's a forest for Max. He's also removed Thespian Sage from the graveyard. It looks like he wants to cast something. But can he work his way through Tabernacle? We saw him do it with ease in the first game. Not be able to do it in the second game, but also Chris's draw is fantastic. And now he's got an Elvish Visionary. He'll draw a card. The way to work through it the best is, of course, Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, Gaia's Cradle just checks Tabernacle outright. So that's the easy way to do it.
Chris will draw another copy of Exploration. Now, he does have Life in Loam in hand, but that's not the best right now.
Nothing to do with it right now, and facing down Deathrite Shaman, which can eat lands out of the graveyard. Like I said, this is a hand with some mana acceleration and a piece of small disruption in Tabernacle, but I don't know if there's really a path to go from here. Anderson might just be waiting for some help.
Now, there are some big draw steps available.
Absolutely, yes.
Dark Depths, see you later. Punishing Fire, a delight.
But in the face of a Deathrite Shaman, the path for Glacial Chasm being the lock is probably off the table, because that involves sacrificing it, getting it back, and so forth. Deathrite can eat the lands out of the graveyard. Merit Lage is still fine, and Punishing Fire, if drawn quickly, will still be good, although Chris is lacking a Grove.
Now, the interesting thing here for Chris is he can Castle Loam because Max doesn't have black mana right now.
Yep.
He's got 2 basic forests on the battlefield. Now, you don't know if Max has black mana or not. So he's going to sacrifice Verdant Catacombs, going to get a Taiga, and I think we're going to see him Castle Loam, get back to Verdant Catacombs, and just say, I hope you don't have black mana so I can start dredging.
It's not like the Loam is doing very much regardless. I mean, gets 1 land back, and if, as you mentioned, if Max is without black mana, then things start getting good for Chris. He can start dredging.
But this all makes sense to me.
And if nothing else, it's Max's turn. He's probably going to pay for the Tabernacle, eat your land, or eat your loam rather, say go. That's okay. That's a draw step for Chris.
If he has black mana, you can wasteland it.
Yeah.
He gets to play a third land there because 2 explorations out there. And now we go back Max Williams' way, and he's going to have to pay the upkeep on probably the Death Threat Shaman. Unclear if he wants to pay for the Elvis Visionary. He's going to pay for both. I believe Dryad Arbor may have been the draw. He does have Bayou. And it looks like he might be using that with Death Threat Shaman to take care of Loam. Yep. Here comes Elvis Visionary for 1. Anderson's going to fall down to 18. But the start is very slow here for Max Williams, which is good for Chris Anderson.
Yep. Tabernacle's buying a lot of time, but I mean, what you see is what you get on the board. There's not a lot going on for Chris right now. Empty-handed. He's one good draw step away from essentially winning the game, but right now he's not doing very much.
Wasteland's going to take care of Bayou. Rashadan Ports doesn't play a huge role. Pay for the 2 creatures, draw a card. Glimpse is the draw here for Max Williams.
I mean, for the time being at least, Max can kind of just hang back, attack for a little bit, draw some cards, and eventually build up a hand where Glimpse can start doing something.
Yep. He's going to sacrifice Wooded Foothills now.
Also, when the time's right, he can just bail on the upkeep on Elvish Visionary. He's less likely to do that now because of the Rashadan port. He's incentivized kind of just tap out every single turn. But he can go into his main phase with more mana if he so chooses, if Glimpse sets itself up that way.
We'll see what's next here for Max Williams. Looks like Heritage Druid. This actually could be a Glimpse turn. It's weird you would think that given how he started the turn, it couldn't be a Glimpse turn, but it might be. He's tapping 3 green now. Yeah, here's a Glimpse. And now Chris kind of sits back in his chair a little bit. Here's Nettle Sentinel. Draw a card. Looks like a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dryad Arbor, Wooded Foothills. Chris is going to copy something with his Thespian stage.
That felt like a bit of a rush to me.
Yeah.
I think that Max may have been able to wait 1 or 2 more turns for this Glimpse, because there's just such a high chance it doesn't go very far. And with a couple more draw steps, he might be able to go way off. The other thing is, Max is really on the hunt for Gaia's Cradle. He's looking for a particular card at this point, so I would have tried to squeeze a little bit more out of the Glimpse, I think.
Upkeep, 4 triggers from Tabernacle. I think we might see Chris activate Port here, maybe in the draw step. Take care of that forest. This game's got a weird texture to it so far.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
Ooh, Natural Order the draw.
But going into his turn with enough untapped creatures to make Natural Order lethal is going to be complicated until he finds Gaia's Cradle.
Looks like Death Right Shaman just going to remove a land for funsies. Another thing to keep in mind here as well, Nettle Sentinel not going to untap on Max's turn, so paying might be a little bit more difficult now. So he's got a decent amount of lands to work with. See if Chris wants to activate his port on the end step. Maybe go after that Wooded Foothills. Looks like he doesn't want to. I think right now Thespian stage is a port. So.
Yeah.
Anderson going to sacrifice Verdant Catacombs. Get himself a Taiga. There's some big draws here for Chris that win in the game immediately. There are quite a few bad ones. The same thing can be said for Max. A card like Gaia's Cradle right now is very useful. Anderson. Going to activate Port on the end step too. So this is all Chris's end step. Excuse me, all on Max's end step. Now we go back Chris Anderson's way. He'll draw. I think Mox Diamond was the draw step. We're heading back Williams' way. So what will he pay for?
I mean, a couple of different routes here. He can let the Nettle Sentinel go, sacrifice the land, and keep everything else in play. By doing this, he sort of lets Anderson just port out all of his lands.
Gonna port the forest. Pass it over. Williams will draw. But it's weird here because Cradle isn't. If he draws Cradle to cast Natural Order, it's not game over.
Yep.
You know, because the creatures are all tapped. So there's Dryad Arbor. Pass the turn back. Keep in mind that's a creature as well for Tabernacle.
Dryad Arbor doesn't just pays for itself basically.
Yep. Chris, I think going after that Wooded Foothills again.
Yeah, Max might as well sacrifice this. There's no reason to let Wasteland be a thing. I mean, I suppose it is anyway at this point because of the Dryad Arbor.
Second Dryad Arbor now.
So the Dryad Arbors, they essentially don't make mana because Tabernacle's in play. So they pay for themselves. But the other side is they are a creature for Craterhoof Behemoth. And it's possible that Max is kind of planning on a line of play, something along the lines of pay for everything, get one creature to be untapped, Natural Order, have that creature plus Craterhoof be lethal.
Riftstone Portal the draw here for Chris. Like we said, there are some hitful hits and some pitful pits. The last two have been pretty bad. Tabernacle triggers on the stack, 6 of them. That's 6. Port your Dryad Arbor. Try to fade a Cradle. Wooded Foothills the land. Chris going to go after Wooded Foothills. That's going to resolve. Anderson will draw. Gamble.
Okay. That's what Chris was looking for.
Now, I don't know what he searches for with this. I think Dark Depths. It could be Loam.
Well, there's a couple of justifiable things you can search for here. You can search for Dark Depths. If you end up getting the Dark Depths discarded, then Loam is still a draw. That's a little risky, though, because there's a Deathrite Shaman in play. I think my preference would have been to go get Crop Rotation, because then you can still Crop Rotate for Dark Depths and win the game if that situation should present itself.
Okay.
But there's still a Dark Depths left in your deck in the event that you hit the Crop Rotation off the gamble.
Okay.
Because Max can simply go untap, use Deathrite Shaman, get the Dark Depths out of the graveyard. So Loam's not really a consideration for me.
Sure.
So I have a slight preference, I think, for getting Crop Rotation in this spot. It's very thin, but...
What bites the dust? The card he gambled for. All right. Aptly named.
Honest gamble. Not getting a graveyard card. Really cared about what he hit there.
Looking to make it 2020. Got denied.
And now if I'm Max here, I am getting that Dark Depths out of the graveyard as the first order of business here.
Again, 6 Tabernacle triggers. How does Max Williams want to do things here?
Yeah, if I'm Max, I'm willing to take a turn off here and basically just tap all of the lands and the Deathrite Shaman for mana and pay.
Let something go.
Well,
I guess no, he doesn't need to. No, you're right.
He gets 6 mana that way. He actually gets to attack if he does that.
Yep.
But more importantly, he gets the Dark Depths out of the graveyard.
Well, the Dark Depths is still in the graveyard now, so there's a port. Is there a Cradle?
This is a very risky line of play here for Max.
It's another land that's not a Cradle. Chris is going to port one of these fetch lands. All right. Let's see what the draw is now. It's a gamble again.
Well, that works now because the Dark Depths in the graveyard. Now he can get
Loam. Okay. If he casts Loam and gets back Depths, though, he won't be able to make it all in one turn. So in a perfect world, he actually has discards Riftstone Portal to the gamble.
Yep. A top deck gamble has got to be one of the just most fun things in Legacy.
It's pretty great.
That's got to be really high on the list.
A top deck gamble with only a couple cards in hand. All right, Chris did search for a loan. Yeah. In a perfect world, he's discarding Riftstone. He's discarding Riftstone Portal. He can go nuts.
Yep.
Bang.
There it is.
The perfect card to discard. Because actually, he doesn't, like, Moss Simon kind of stinks to discard there.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. And he's tapping out from Randall, and Max is saying, how are you doing that? And Riftstone Portal is the way to do it.
Yep. It's Urborg. It's Savannah Urborg while it's in the graveyard.
Yep. Here's a couple of lands he gets to get back now.
And now I think I don't even think Cradle is good anymore because I don't know if Max can get to his turn with enough untapped creatures. Merit Lage is a pretty good blocker.
It does okay at blocking.
It's a fine blocker.
Wasteland does a nice job, too, of killing a land here. Now Chris will pass the turn. It looks like he's got enough mana to activate a port and make a 20/20. Okay, he's a little short on port, make a 20/20, and Wasteland, it looks like.
But Williams' mana is still all jammed up, and I don't think Craterhoof gets him very far now.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, the best case scenario is he gets to untap the Nettle Sentinel, but Merit Lage blocks to Craterhoof. I don't see the Nettle Sentinel getting to 15/15 based on what's on the board and in hand. And I don't think Williams can, again, gain life, block a creature, or somehow remove Merit Lage.
Well, there's a port activation.
I actually think that Williams might be getting himself some daylight here. If he draws Cradle, I think he can do it.
Well, the draw was Reclamation Sage.
No, he might be. I think he's a bit short on the board. Because he goes down to 3 creatures, is 9, 10, 11. He gets through. So he's short.
A little bit short. Because he has to sacrifice one of those creatures, too.
Right.
Yeah.
If he didn't have to sacrifice anything, he would actually be fine if he could cast Natural Order, but he could do neither, so.
Going to pass the turn back, and I don't think Chris is going to miss out on his opportunity to make a 20/20 here, and that is going to do it. Chris Anderson's going to win this match here over Max Williams, 2-1. A pretty wonky third game there between Lands and Elves, but it's a victory for Anderson nonetheless. He's been on top of the standings for most of the weekend. He's now 12-1. He is our first lock into the elimination rounds, and boy, is that important for him.
Congratulations to him. Really heats up the Players' Championship race, and Anderson has to keep playing. I mean, he's not going to be conceding to friends or drawing or anything like that. He has got to be playing for seeding at this point because top 8's good, but he is really playing for a win right now.